Hi there everybody and good morning! I woke up to some really good news today. There are new interviews on Famitsu and on the Square Enix blog in regards to the new Final Fantasy Tactics Remaster, and I am super excited about it. It's one of the most anticipated games of the year, and I do want to tell you all about it and kind of hit those high points with y'all, and I definitely do think that's worth the sub, as I do try my hardest to hit 100,000 subscribers. If you help your liking a sub, I just know that I can get there, so thanks so much for that. So there's some good news here that I'm going to be going over, and there's some bad news here that I'm going to be going over as well. It really, I guess, depends on your viewpoint. To me, there's some good and some bad, and I'm sure that there is to you. So we already know that there is a classic version and an enhanced version that is going to be released on the modern platforms. It's coming out on September the 30th, but both of them are based upon the original Final Fantasy Tactics game. There is no War of the Lions game content at all added, none. You're not getting Balthier or Luso or anything else like that. You're not getting that. The only thing that you are getting, though, is the translation. So it's kind of like they picked and they chose what they wanted to add for this. There's also no new submissions and no new characters and no new jobs either. So they're not really adding anything new to this. This is just a strict remaster, which to me is unfortunate. So I am of the age, and I'm sure all y'all are too, that you recall whenever you would, even if they went ahead and they remastered something, and it's not just Square Enix, you know, Namco Bandai, some of these other companies, whenever they went and they remastered something, they always added in something extra. Whenever they went and they remastered, or I guess they ported, I suppose, Final Fantasy 4, 5, and 6 to the Game Boy Advance, they added in, you know, bonus dungeons. In 4, they added in the ability to take whatever character you wanted to the end game. They added in new jobs to Final Fantasy 5, you know? For like the Tales games, Tales of Vesperia, they added in extra characters. They added in Patty, they added in Flynn. Even whenever they went ahead and they redid Dragon Quest VIII over on the 3DS, you know, you got new characters. You got Red, you got Mori. So this whole new trend of them just wanting to go back to like the original version, I kind of get where they're coming from a little bit, but at the same time, it's just kind of like, why not add more? To me, it's just kind of like, yeah, I'm not really a fan of that. Like, I've played the original, I've played the War of the Lions version, and I've played the original a million times. So to me, it's like, okay, well, I get to play the original again. Whereas whenever a remaster or a remake or a port comes out and then there's something new added, I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm really excited. I want to go in these bonus dungeons. I want to try new character combinations. I want to see how these new characters play. I want to check out these new job classes. There is none of that excitement with this one, which is unfortunate. However, there are some new things that have been added, most notably conversations. Apparently, this was cut content back in the original version because, you know, once the named characters, I suppose, like Agrius and Cid and, you know, people like that, once they join up, they don't really have all that much to say after they join. And originally, they did have stuff to say after they joined. But, you know, now that has been added in, and they've actually added in branching conversations so that you get to see, you know, different aspects of the characters. Apparently, there are a lot of branching conversations between Ramza and Gafgarion in particular. Then, as you go through and you bring certain characters into battles, there will be further conversations. So, as you're fighting, you have to think about, okay, who am I fighting and which of my characters might have a relationship with that person, a friendship, a betrayal, whatever. So they wanted to bring those in and then have those conversations, because sometimes it would just be like Ramza talking, you know what I mean, at the beginning of the battle. But now everybody that you bring in might have something to say. A lot of the times, whenever I went through and I did my own self-imposed challenge modes, I would purposely not use any of the named characters, especially characters like Agrius and Cid, because I felt like they were just too overpowered, you know, and I would just use the generic characters and the generic jobs. But now, because they have these conversations, that does give me an incentive to go through and play it with those characters just so I can see what they have to say, you know? So that is kind of cool. Also, it has been fully voiced, including the spell chants. All of that is fully voiced in both English and in Japanese, and the classic original version is included. Interestingly enough, this project started back in 2018 after a Final Fantasy IV collaboration, but it started full throttle after the development of Final Fantasy XVI. So when that NVIDIA leak came out in, I believe, 2021, I want to say maybe it was 2022. I think it was 2021. It had been in development for 3 full years at that time, but they really didn't take off on it until after Final Fantasy XVI. Now, here's a big thing, and this is another big change and something that will make it a little bit different to play. There are 3 different difficulty options that you can change at any time that you want to. There's a casual mode, a standard mode, and a tactical mode. The casual mode, all of these, again, use the standard original game. But the casual mode is kind of like a story mode. The enemies won't level up with you in the random encounters or anything else like that. Although they didn't mention if there would be random encounters on the world map or not. I hope not. But then again, they said it's based on the original game, so there probably are random encounters on the world map. Then there's a standard level of difficulty, which is the one that they most recommended, because they said that there were some balance changes that they added to some of the jobs here. Like, they specifically pointed out and they said, hey, there were some useless abilities and some kind of useless jobs out there, so we wanted to spruce those up. And they specifically mentioned the archer, who, as we all know, is really kind of useless. So hopefully they don't just, power up the charge abilities. Hopefully they give them something more. Maybe they'll give something more to other job classes like the Mediator or the Oracle, those sorts of things. Something to spruce them up and to make you actually want to play those kind of more off-kilter, eclectic job classes rather than just keeping to, Monk and Summoner and Black Mage and, things like that. So we shall see. They also went ahead and they said in tactical difficulty level, that's the hardest one, that specific job abilities will literally just be cut off. And they mentioned the calculator abilities here. And they said, you can't just go through and calculate wholly and then just blast the crap out of everybody. So they're specifically like turning off certain abilities in the tactical mode to make it much, much more difficult. So that is an interesting take on it. To me, personally, I would rather they just kind of rebalance the whole calculator class rather than turn off abilities. That seems kind of like a lazy way to rebalance it, I would rather each job class be rebalanced in such a way that all of them are viable at the beginning of the game as well as the end of the game, except for maybe like the Squire or, the stupid early job classes like that. But it just seems to me that if you have a tactical game with a whole bunch of job classes, all of them should be viable at all points of the game. There shouldn't be something that is definitively better than the other. Another cool thing that they talked about, of course, was, besides like fast forwarding and the autosave and quality of life improvements and the new UI, I thought this was interesting. You can get Cloud as a companion much earlier in the game. They said, kind of like in War of the Lions, you can get Cloud earlier in the game. So again, they're like cherry picking what they want from War of the Lions. Oh yes, I want the translation. No, I don't want Luso and Balthier. Yes, I want early Cloud. So it's kind of like, okay, if you have a classic mode and you have an enhanced mode, why didn't you put an War of the Lions mode in there as well? You know what I'm saying? But anyway, so yeah, there are some good things and there are some bad things, but now I want to hear from y'all. What do you feel about this? How do you feel about this whole remake, this whole remaster? Are you still excited for it? Are you still going to be getting it? I know that I am, and I am still excited for it, but I want to hear from y'all. Let me know in the comments, and as always, have a good day.